All right, hey brothers and sisters, look like I got something going here. All right. Anyway, this isn't doing like I want, but we are here. Let's try this one. So we are here, everyone. To those of you who could get on here, let me greet everybody real quick. Howard and Hardugu dog, wala oi to the day. Vasas los. Bonjour, mes amis. Kedu bawani konnichiwa. Ni hao. Ni hao ma. Sani bonani. Jambo habarigani. Assalamu alaikum and shalom. All right. And we got some stuff going on here. Okay. And I wanted to speak on this, the Tulsi Gabbard case, right? And the reason why I wanted to speak on this in particular is that I cannot stand when people are mistreating others or scamming and scheming. They're scamming or scheming so that we cannot see what's really going on as the people. All right. So, real quick, um, we just got so much BS in the U.S. so much BS in the U.S. going on. All right. But all in the name of the people, so to speak. All right. So they're doing stuff, quote unquote, in the name of the people. But when you look at it, they figure that the people in the United States are a bunch of dimwits. And the sad part about all of that is Lord, it looks like they might be right. It looks like they might be right. Hold on for a second. And I really hate to say that these people may be right on the conditioning and the mindset of the quote unquote America. But this, and I want to show you something else too. I want to show you that what's going on here is basically a symbiotic relationship. All right. A symbiotic relationship between the business end and the people. Now, how this works is on the business end, they figured that the people are a bunch of business gullible nitwits. The business end and the political end. Now, what do we mean by the political end? You really don't know the simpleton of the simps until you start to realize that that a lot of people are like, you know what, these people that are Democrats are gullible. I've often said that the worst thing to a country is a bunch of suckers that vote for the same party no matter what. Because once the party got those suckers, then they don't have to worry about they don't have to worry about them. They put all their political capital on people who they know that they don't have. All right. Now I want to break this down like this. We have a lot of people that are into shaming people. They're into taking away the First Amendment rights of other people. They're into, if you don't agree with them, they will try to take you out. If you don't agree with them, they will try to destroy your livelihood. And by agreeing with them, what's happening is you got a bunch of entitled people that thinks that the world should work exactly the way they want. And if anybody don't follow them, and they have the power to, they will cause great harm to said individuals. All right, I want y'all to understand that. Hold on for a second. One moment. And all right, there we go. So that's where we stand right now. So let me tell you what's going on for you fellow Democrats. Okay. What's going on for the Democrats is this. And it's the reason why Trump is going to win again. The one person, all right, that everybody was really looking at, them because they said, okay, this is a principled person, was Tulsi Gabbard, especially the way she laid down the smackdown on Kamala, whatever, Harris. All right. The so-called pretend Afro woman. She's a pretend African American. She has none in her blood. Her ancestors might have enslaved some, but herself, she's Indian and more Indian and Caucasian. All right. So this is what the news is saying about the Democratic Party. And this is the Washington Examiner. And it's an opinion piece by Brad Palomo. How the DNC is unfairly tilting the field against Tulsi Gabbard. Now, why would the Democratic Party do this to one of their own? Because they don't want to give Democrats a choice in which candidate is going to run. They've proven this with the fiasco with Hillary Clinton. Is run by a bunch of women that want a particular style of person there. Okay, and that's basically it. So this is what happened. This is the opinion of this guy. He says after the fiasco that was the 2016 Democratic presidential primary. Now the fiasco was that they sandbagged Bernie Sanders. And he had a legitimate shot at being the president. But they didn't want it to be a fair thing. They wanted Hillary to be their nominee. So they did everything that they could to sabotage Bernie Sanders' candidacy. And in doing this, they depended on the tried and true gullible people. As a matter of fact, the so-called African Americans didn't vote for the person that actually marched and went to jail on their behalf when they was a teenager. They voted for the person that said that their children were tantamount to canine, that they are super predators, that we can discuss how they got this way, but first we must bring them to heel. They voted for the person that said that the woman that was responsible for eugenics was her hero, not the guy that went to jail because he thought it was unfair that Afro people didn't have the same housing rights. Nope. The so-called African American, which is really a nobody, you're neither African nor American with that title, they voted for the person whose idol, Margaret Sanger, was somebody that wanted the elimination of all Afro people from the face of the planet. That's the fiasco he's talking about. He says, you think then the DNC would take steps this time around to ensure that its decision making is transparent and bias free. Naturally, they're doing the opposite. Okay, the most recent issue, and we'll talk about this in depth, is the DNC qualification criteria for the third Democratic primary debate set for September. The DNC has understandably sought to cut down on the number of candidates granted a space on the debate stage. Now they've done so by putting in a more stringent qualification. Put in place more stringent qualification requirements. Now candidates must show 4 DNC approved polls, placing them at 2% or higher. They must also receive 130,000 unique donations. If applied fairly, understand this, if applied fairly, these standards are reasonable enough. They just proved easy hurdles to overcome for the big name candidates with Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and the like all along since qualifying, just as you expect. But it's borderline candidates who've been harmed the most by arbitrary and potentially biased enforcement of these criteria. Candidates such as Ton Steyer, Marianne Williamson have suffered, but most clearly disadvantaged by the DNC's malpractice is Hawaii Rep. Tulsi Gabbard. Here's where the bias comes in. The decision as to which polls the DNC approves and which are not. Several of these campaigns met the polling threshold in more than 4 reputable polls. Not just the ones approved by the DNC, whose criteria for poll approval are unknown and opaque. This is particularly true for Gabbard, The Gabbard campaign provided a statement to the Washington Examiner. This is her statement. Gabbard has exceeded 2% support in 26 national and early state polls, but only 2 of them are on the DNC's certified list. Many of the uncertified polls include those conducted by highly reputable organizations such as The Economist. Wait a minute. The Economist poll, the Boston Globe. These are ranked by Real Clear Politics and 538 as more accurate than some DNC certified polls. This is why I keep telling people, if you're voting Democrat, I question your integrity. And this is why. And this is why I question your integrity. Why are you voting if you're not seeing if the people you're voting for are actually doing things reputable and in the interest of your party? Which this clearly shows that they are not doing this. All right? The Boston Globe and The Economist are not included on the DNC certified list. And if Tulsi Gabbard is exceeding 2% support in 26 national and early state polls, I want y'all to understand what's going on here. When we say early state polls, hey, what's up, Holy One Kenobi? When we say early state polls, I want y'all to understand this. Early polls is basically a true indication of where people are standing right now. When you're talking about national polls that are accredited, but the Democrat and accurate, but Democrats are taking less accurate polls, then let me tell you what's going on. What the Democratic Party is doing is they are saying, we cannot withstand another truthful assault on any of our people that we're trying to prop up as puppets. We cannot afford to have our puppets being exposed as puppets. We cannot afford to have somebody with integrity demonstrate how much integrity they have and becoming a true front runner. So, if we're going to control the people, we're going to control what they see. Where else have you seen this? Oh, this is what Google and YouTube is doing. Google and YouTube are doing the same thing. As a matter of fact, wait a minute. It is argued that YouTube leans left. So basically, the people that are trying to take away your rights for everything, your rights to protect yourself, your rights to vote, understand this. By tweaking a primary or an election whereby you cannot choose whom you like, where they cannot run fairly against the establishment, like who the establishment wants. Now, it's understandable if the establishment say, look, we're not even going to play this game. We're going to pick the Democrats. We're not going to have a primary or anything and have the people pick. We the party elites are going to pick who's going to run for Democrat, and you have the choice to vote for them without a primary, without this fake mess, because they are showing that these primaries are actually fake. What's going on is the Democratic Party is tweaking this fake mess because it's fake. They're tweaking it to have you run. No, have you think you're voting. Where you're not voting for the one you like because they have integrity. You're voting for them that's going to hold to the Democrats' agenda. Now, I have problems with the Republicans too. For those of you that's been watching enough of my videos. All right, I have major problems with the Republicans. But what we're exhibiting, what we're seeing here is not one of them. All right. Malcolm X, and here's the other thing though. Here's the other thing that's really burning me up. I would like to show y'all something. And this goes out to YouTube if they're watching my channel. I would like to show you something. Pacifica Radio Archives. Shine a little light on this. A little more light. Hold on. Let me get my light right. All right. How do I do this? Pacifica Radio Archives. What I want to show you is what this is an archive of Malcolm X speeches. All right. So I showed you that. Now I'm going to show you what Google is doing. Because of the election, I thought that a particular speech, a very particular speech, would be appropriate at this time. Would be most appropriate at this time. All right. Oops. And that speech is the ballot or the bullet. So when I'm telling y'all I own Malcolm X's speeches, I physically own his speeches. The prospect for freedom. All right. So why am I showing you this? Malcolm X, the ballot or the bullet. This is more so a hit on YouTube. One, y'all always heard pieces of this particular speech. All right. You've always heard pieces of this particular speech. What's up, Holy One Kenobi? I like that, Holy One Kenobi. And what's up, Texas Marine? I know I got a few more people up in here. You've always heard pieces of these speeches, right? But not the whole thing. And the reason why this is significant is that things that give us information, when we have information, when we kind of know what's going on. Hey, what's up, Roddy Benoit? What's up, Kyle Dawson? What's up, Lord Vader? All right. When we have this, then one must ask, Who are these people? I'm going to show you something real quick. One of the biggest issues I'm having with YouTube right now. Okay, one of the biggest problems I'm having with YouTube is actually getting to YouTube. Okay, hold on for a second. Why can't I get to YouTube? Okay. All right. So one of the greatest problems is one of the biggest problems that I had is I'm trying to get the ballot or the bullet video to be shown on YouTube. All right. Now, I'm going to show you what's going on. I'm going to show you slowly what's going on, but nevertheless, I am going to show you what's going on. For the Malcolm X speech, to which I own, that was given to me by Pacifica Radio, who was there to archive his speeches. So this comes from out of the archives of Pacifica Radio, right? I kept wondering why is it GZOP? Why is it that I am having such a difficult time when I'm trying to present our history as Afro people? All right. So this is what I want to show y'all. And I want to show you these companies that's doing this crap too. All right, hold on. Hold on. Let's see. See what this one give us. Nope. Hold on. No, that ain't the one I want. That's the one I want. All right, you see this copyright dispute. Now, I want y'all to understand something. This is a dispute that I've already won with this video. Now, I put this video up on my Reluctant Nobby's Blessed channel. All right. Now, I'm going to show you something real quick. This is the speech. I'm going to tell you what speech this is and why I put it up here. And it's going to tie into what's happening with Tulsi Gabbard. This is the speech where Malcolm X says that anybody that votes Democrat is a fool. They've been bamboozled. They've been took. They've been had. Good afternoon, David Bowman. That's what this speech is. This is the speech, all right, where the entire speech, that's when he says you've been took, you've been had, you've been bamboozled. And what he was talking about is anybody that votes Democrat is a fool. This is the speech where he says anybody that's voting Democrat is a fool. Okay, now you have to understand why he would say such a thing. In all of this, right? I just won the dispute with this, a copyright dispute. All right, that I had to wait for 30 days to have it dropped off, right? So when I tried to repost the video so that y'all can see it unblocked, the robots of YouTube's, their little bots thing, don't acknowledge that for the exact same video that I just went and challenged all these people, and they can see that I legitimately own it, right? I want you to understand something. You got two music groups, E1 Music and Mooney Music Group. Okay, so Entertainment One US LP on behalf of E1 Music. But see, I know that there's no music in this speech because this comes from a news organization from 1964 that recorded as 1964. The other one is TuneCore on behalf of Mooney, right? So why is it Warner's record label is doing this? This is a public speech given by Malcolm X that was covered by the news media, one of which was Pacifica Radio. That's right, Pacifica Radio. The radio station that gave me a copy of what they archived. So these speeches are from their archive. See, here's the thing, and I think I know the problem. See, a lot of these individuals think that people like me are not going to get their hands on history because we're not looking for it. They think I'm like the rest of, many of us others, that when it comes to Afro history, that I'm going to be more interested in somebody shaking their booty on Facebook than somebody talking legit truth on how we kind of navigate through this country we call America. What is the true history? Kyle Dawson, you can leave. Here, I'll help you. Hey, David Bowman. Hey, David Bowman, do me a favor. Oh, never mind. My thing is just slow. Cause I don't got time for this. Somebody get rid of Kyle Dawson. That's a troll. I don't got time for trolls. Okay. Hey, Dwight, can you get rid of him? Right, but see, there's no music on it. Right? Now, so when we get to the Ballad of the Bullet, right, I wanted y'all to hear what Malcolm X had to say about it, because you got a lot of these Democrat running around people trying to quote Malcolm X when there's like, Malcolm X called our women queens. No, he didn't. Because he only called women queens that acted like queens. Matter of fact, I don't, hold on for a second. I don't recall, hold on. All right, so basically, I don't have time for trolls. This is too important, right? And me, I'm not sitting up here trying to spit knowledge to try to get views and stuff like that. I'm trying to help us so that we can understand what's going on. So those that need to get clarity in their minds, they can get it, right? Um, I'm not one of the people here that's more interested in how many views I could get. Hold on for a second. Hey, hey, all right. I probably have like 50. Last name? Hold on. All right. So that's basically it. I don't have time. I mean, too much is happening to us as a people. All right. So where am I going with this? I don't know because my computer is freezing up. All right. So where I'm going with this is this. I got to figure out why my computer is freezing up. What's going on with my computer? Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second, for a minute, people. Okay. So where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is as you see um in the other guy's story, right? When it comes to hold on for a second. All right. Basically, when it comes to oops, wrong window. There we go. When it comes to the DNC, when it comes to the Democrats primarily, and this is why I started calling them out because I listened to the whole speech, right? And I was like, why would he say that? And he called out the party. And then I put up Lyndon B. Johnson's exact quote. After we sign this integration bill, we'll have them in words voting for us the next 200 years. Part of that bill was giving welfare and all that stuff to the single mom so that they can utterly destroy what we had in a community. All right. Hey, what's up, $3 assassin? What's up, Hood Show? Thanks, Dwight. All right, and so this is basically what it is, right? We in this country are not allowed to have people that think for themselves. They do not desire people that think for themselves. They do not desire people that really care about the people. They hate Trump for a reason, and they don't like Tulsi Gabbard for a reason. And that's because Trump dared to say, they don't know what they're doing. I could do it better than them. And it looks like he's actually doing it better than them. All right. Tulsi Gabbard gets up there and she says, you know what? I know what war really looked like. I know what all this stuff really looked like. And these people are wrong. Because I see it from the point of view of the person that sees the damage firsthand. And while she believes that, yeah, we should defend ourselves because she's in the army, she don't believe we should be doing regime change. She's seeing what it looked like from the face of the people that's on the ground of the regime being changed. And she sees that the people are worse off. The ones that we say we care about are worse off because we never cared about the people. She sees that. She speaks to it. And you got a whole bunch of mouthpieces up there. All right. And you had the mouthpieces for the Republicans too. Why do you think the Republicans don't like Trump? The Republicans do not like Trump. The people like Trump. And some of the people like Trump out of spite. All right, let's keep it real. All right. Now, to go on to what this guy was saying, he says, this is manifestly unjust. And given the DNC's long history of bias against outsiders, anti-establishment candidates, it is unlikely that this injustice is an accident. So understand what he said. This is manifestly unjust. And given the DNC's long history of bias against outsiders, okay, anti-establishment candidates, it is likely that this injustice is an accident. In other words, it's not an accident. This is done on purpose. They took the biggest polls. They disqualified the biggest polls to make sure they can name everybody that they wanted in the debates. They wanted the four that everybody else was in, that they wanted in the debates, that excluded Tulsi Gabbard. That's why they picked less accurate polls to use as a litmus test. They didn't pick The Economist or the Boston Globe. All right. They picked less accurate polls because Tulsi Gabbard, and we don't even know that the DNC was probably running those less accurate polls. As a matter of fact, everything that they've done since Hillary Clinton has been in secret. This guy goes on to bring up the history that the DNC basically tilted the Democratic primary against Sanders in favor of the party establishment preferred candidate Hillary Clinton. And how well did that go for them? Hold on. They gave Clinton debate question in advance. Understand this. They gave the woman debate questions in advance. They planned debates for the weekends, perhaps to shield Clinton from high viewership, and leaked emails showed numerous examples of anti-Sanders bias from the DNC officials. Okay, now this I didn't know. Plus, the DNC and the Clinton campaign even had a signed agreement giving Clinton's camp control over the party staffing. Let's look at this real quick. Let me see what just popped up. Okay, never mind. We'll look at it somewhere else. Okay, as journalist Michael Tracy wrote for Real Clear Politics, Tulsi Gabbard is on the verge of being excluded from the next Democratic presidential debate on the basis of the criteria that appear increasingly absurd. If the DNC wants to avoid more allegations of bias, it should step up and make sure Gabbard is granted the debate stage place she clearly deserves. You know why the DNC don't like Tulsi Gabbard? The DNC don't like Tulsi Gabbard because the people like Tulsi Gabbard. All right. What's up? What's your hip hop? I would say, what's your hip hop? I used to think that they're two sides of the same coin. I believe they're both crooked, but they're not the same kind of coin crooked. All right. Remember, none of them like the Trump. There's a reason Trump ran on the Republican ticket. And that was because he knew that their process was more fair than the Democrats. See, we never understood how wicked that process of the DNC was, and it was even being called out during the time of Malcolm X. Hence why I tried to put the speech up. Right. There you go. I agree with the second part of your sentences. Right? The Republicans, but this is, now you know I've been saying this. I said the difference between the Democrats and the Republican is that the Democrats actually try to actively destroy the melanated, whereas the Republicans ignore them and just say, leave us alone. You stay on your side of the tracks, we'll stay on ours. All right? So I want you to understand. All right? They're not part of the same coin. They're like two worthless coins But the DNC is the coin that has acid on it that actually burns you. Is radioactive on purpose to cause harm. Whereas the Republican is a non-usable coin. All right, and that's the difference between the two. I kept saying that there's a difference. Remember, a lot of dudes like Trump that don't like the Republican Party because they understand what the Republican Party stand for. But they're starting to notice that Trump isn't like doing anything that any of the parties like. All right, he has split the party. The the establishment Republicans don't like him. The Democrats, none of the Democrats like him. The establishment Republicans just go with them because they like, oh well. You see what I mean? And so that's the difference. There are other differences. And a lot of people like Trump out of spite because his enemies happen to be, well, the enemy of the people. All right. So a lot of things going on here. There we go. There we go. I got it. Let me show y'all this one. All right, let's see. What's this? Nope. Nope. Ah, there we go. Here we go. Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Here you go. See how this deep this is, y'all. And this was by NPR. Hillary Clinton campaign had an additional signed agreement with the DNC in 2015. What exactly did the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign agree to in 2015 before any votes had been cast in the Democratic primary? All right. Donna Brazil, the she followed Debbie Wasserman Schultz, right? Who resigned against all the wickedness that was going on. All right. Brazil wrote that she discovered an agreement that specified that in exchange for raising money and investing in the DNC, Hillary would control the party's finances, strategy, and all the money raised. Her campaign had the right of refusal of who would be the party communications director, and it would make the final decision on all other staff. This agreement has been seized on by everyone from President Trump to Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren as proof that the DNC is rigged, and that this proved that they rigged the 2016 primary, but it still proves that it is rigged. All right. In a letter to the DNC, members of Chairman Tom Perez noted that the party reached joint fundraising agreements with both Clinton and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. The joint fundraising agreements were the same for each campaign except the treasurer. And our understanding was the DNC offered all of the president campaigns the opportunity to set up joint fundraising agreements and work with the DNC to coordinate on how those funds would be used to best prepare for the general election. And they say that may be true, but the two Democrat officials tell NPR that Brazil and Perez are referring to two different things. In addition of the joint fundraising agreement the DNC reached with both campaigns, the party and Clinton campaign struck that separate memorandum of understanding, giving the campaign staff and policy oversight. That document was signed August 26, 2015. Before other things, Vice President Joe Biden ruled out a run for president. DNC could not deny it. So they took for granted that Hillary was just going to be the it. All right, so I mean, there's a lot to this here. Let me just put this for those of you that want to read it. I'm gonna put it in. All right, I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put the link. I'm gonna send y'all the link right now. So if y'all want to copy the link to that story, there it is. Hey, what's up, Terminator T800? What's up, Ray God? All right, so if y'all want, so there's the link to that and how all that uncovers, right? So when we say that there is a good amount of wickedness going on within the Democratic primaries, within the Democratic Party, within all this other nefarious stuff going on, it's really hard to wrap your fingers around how wicked this stuff is really getting. All right. And now, you have Tulsi Gabbard in their crosshairs as the next victim to be sabotaged, thinking that they have a chance in such a wicked party. And that's the sad part. That is really the sad part. All right. So, what can be done about it? I know a real simple thing that could be done about this. Some of the people that die hard vote for a singular party, maybe they can wake up and say, you know what? You know what? We're done with these clowns. You know what? Let's do something different. You know what? Let's stick up for the person that is being done wrong. But you know what? The U.S., America, their political system and their business models count on everybody being complacent against the people that's trying to do the best for them. And that's the sad part. That is the real sad part. That we are in a country because people feel so entitled. All right? People feel so entitled that good does not have a chance. All right? When we look at all these polls, hold on for a second. Let me look at this Emerson poll real quick. All right. All right. So Tulsi's been doing good in the polls. So when you go and look at who the people say won the first debate, I want y'all to pay attention to this. When you look at who the people say won the first debate, atop of that list is Tulsi Gabbard. She tops the list, followed by Elizabeth Warren, and she won by a lot too. She won by more than 10%. That's what the people say. Let's look at some of these other polls. Oh, yes, Tulsi Gabbard shot up there. All right, so Tulsi Gabbard she shook things up, and this is the problem. Take a look at this independent poll. All right, as the 2020 presidential field emerges, which candidate would you consider voting for? 866 out of 866 people answered this question. Number one, Bernie Sanders. Number two, Tulsi Gabbard. Uh-oh. Pay attention to this, y'all. Number three, Donald Trump. All right, this is kind of poetic here. This is kind of poetic here. You got number one, or let's look at this again. Number one, Bernie Sanders, 40%. He beats Tulsi Gabbard by 5%. He beats Donald Trump by 9%. But Donald Trump beat everybody else except for Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders. Guess which two are not going to be on the ballot? I want y'all to think about that for a second. Guess which two is not going to be on the ballot? It's kind of sad to say, huh? The two people that's not going to be on the Democratic ballot are the two people right now that would beat Donald Trump. How many of you find that amusing? How many of you find that's just simply amusing? All right. So I don't know what's going on here. Hold on for a second. I'm going to hate doing this, but I think I might have to do it. Close this out. All right, so I don't know what's going on with my stuff. So I hope I'm not freezing up or anything. Hold up for a second. Hold on for a second, y'all. Close that out. All right. So I got a whole lot of things going on. As I'm trying to run some things to clear things up. All right. But I wanted to show y'all this because I thought it was just quite amusing that the very two people that stand a chance to beat Donald Trump are the very people that the Democratic Party likes the least. All right. Is the very two people that the Democratic Party is trying to keep from the ballot. All right. So I want y'all to understand that. These people in the Democratic Party do not want you to have a choice. They want their people to win and only their people to win. All right. For those of you like, oh, we have a choice. The Democrat is so liberal that they care about the values of everybody else. We've seen what happens to people when they don't do what, liberal people want. Liberal people don't argue. They shut them down. They's like, the liberal people are like this. Their speech is free. And anybody that thinks differently from them, right, they will have to pay. Because the only person's speech that seems to be free in the United States are the people who lean far left. And they tend to try to squash anybody that has any thought that they do not approve of. How many of y'all really have a problem with that? Shouldn't we have a problem with that? It's amazing that most people won't. But then again, we're a society of people that's waiting to see the next Boontang pictures on Facebook, and we would rather see that than be made aware of things that might potentially cause us harm as a group or a people. As a matter of fact, I've had people tell me straight up, man, we don't want to see anything that's going to help us. All right? We don't want to see anything that's going to help us. All we want to see is somebody standing on top of a car in Popeyes over some chicken sandwich acting a fool. So y'all tell me what y'all think about all of this stuff, all right? I'm about to shut it down in a minute or two because I don't know how well a lot of this is being received because I had a few technical difficulties. All right, but I am about to hit the road. All right, heading to Tennessee and Georgia, Georgia. All right, but I'm headed to Tennessee and Georgia, right? To my brothers out in South Carolina. I'll holler at y'all. Hey, Roger Spice, if you're in here, I'll catch you out there. Like I said, we have a very, very significant problem in the so-called Afro community, right? And that problem is nobody's going to do us anything. No one's going to do right by us. One, because they don't have to. All right? So they don't have to do right by us. Here's the thing. If you keep voting for the people that's trying to do you wrong, then why should they care? They be like, man, we screwing them over. And they still voting for us. We don't have to change nothing. We don't have to do anything to get their votes. Hey, what's up, David Bowman? All right. But I want you to understand, this is why Trump will win. Because as people poll who can beat him, the only people that the DNC care about is their cronies. And that's why they're going to lose. All right? Because the two people that could beat the Trumpster is Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders. And I'm going to tell you something else that y'all don't see. The three people that's so far ahead of everybody else, those are the three people that people respect. Whether you like Trump or not, people respect him because he is doing what he said he was going to do. You might not like what he said he was going to do, but you got to admit, well, yep, I got to respect the dude. He said exactly what he was going to do. So if he come back and say he's going to do something else for the next 4 years when he's running, best believe he's going to try to do it. All right? Tulsi, she got respect because of who she is. And Bernie, he has respect because of who he is. See, these are, whether you disagree with their principles or not, these are people that stand behind their principles. The other ones, you don't know what you're going to get. Period. The other ones are not even on the map. So while they're worried about that 2% in polls, they should be worried about this particular poll right here. As the 2020 presidential field emerges, which candidate would you consider voting for? And they asked a wide variety of people, not just Democrats. Can you say uh-oh for the Democrats? Because the very people that have a chance of beating Trump will not be elected. All right? Believe me on that one. So, with that said, y'all, I'm about to bust move and be out. I forget which one I'm supposed to shut down first. All right? So, I'll probably do another stream later. So either tonight or tomorrow, I'll be hitting the road. I'm gonna hit the road, Jack. All right, and I will see y'all in Georgia. All right, peace, love, and soul. I'm gonna be out.